It's funny. I used to joke to people, but she actually confirmed either earlier this year or last year. She confirmed this, and she's nice. So
Yeah.
it's like she would never like. She was like, "Look, I'm sorry to admit this to you, Abraham, but like, we ain't have you on purpose." You know what I mean? I was like,
Nah, let me stop. I remember you, Leon, and me went to Whitestone to see a classic movie to be, but too
podcast
young
and
were we
stuff.
for
We
Bruce's
just
Willis
started.
stories. Still your
That's
best
it.
of night stories.
All right, let's do it.
Who am I here with right now?
Right now, I'm you're with Frank
Yeah.
Rosario Jr., your cousin, also known as Frankie.
First family member on this show.
That's awesome.
Yeah, man. I feel like this is gonna be weird and interesting because I feel like we're not like actually close. Like I got to be with like Suzanne and Philip.
Yeah. Well, a lot of that has to
Your
do
fault. How is your fault though? Because
Huh?
you literally
Yeah.
you were never in the same city.
I was in a different time zone, and but that seemed to be the entire thing all along, man. It's like I was never that much around. I only came for short spurts, and I was gone, always coming back.
Yeah, I blame my mom. She had me too late. I'm younger than everybody.
Yeah,
It's all her fault.
You're about what, half the age?
I'm 32 now.
Suzanne, she's what, 40?
Sure, she's gonna live that. Hey, check out this highlight, Suzanne.
I mean,
I think my mom had me 45ish,
all right.
and then it's funny. I used to joke to people, but she actually confirmed either earlier this year or last year. She confirmed this, and she's nice.
Yeah.
So it's like she would never like. She was like, "Look, I'm sorry to admit this to you, Abraham, but like, we ain't have you on purpose." You know what I mean? It was like the nicest way though to say it,
man.
because only she could say it like nice. But
Yeah, that's kind of. I don't know, man. You. I don't know if you remember. You might be a little younger than that, but there was a TV show called Alf,
yeah, the
Alien
guy,
Life
yeah.
Form. It was actually hilarious. There was one.
Is that what that meant?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Alien Alf.
Oh,
Alien
that I
Life
didn't
Form.
know. Look
Yeah.
at it.
So they had a. I can't remember when they came out with the TV show, and then they made a cartoon.
Hmm.
And I can't remember if it was on the show or the cartoon. I think it was a cartoon, because in the cartoon they're still in his home planet of Melmac, and he's with his parents, and he finds out that his parents had him after they had gotten married.
Mm.
And according to Melmac, they're supposed to have kids before they get married, and then they get married. So to him, that was like a big blow. They had me after wedlock. So
Yeah. I mean, it was weird because I felt like I was like, what is it? The only child, but I wasn't. It was like a hybrid. Like, because I wasn't the only child, but like, and to some degree I was, because the older I got and more aware I got, like the more it was time for like Suzanne to leave first, or Philip didn't want to be there because he's in his teenage years, what I mean?
yeah, well, and that has a lot to do with the big gap in age,
Yeah.
because you get to a certain point in like Philip and Suzanne, they were already at a point where when they reached that point, that, well, I got this that I want to do, and I have this plan, I got this other thing in mind.
Yeah.
But you're still at a younger age, so you're not quite understanding that. So you're reaping the benefit of having them around for a while, but then at the same time, they're already planning ahead of time to do their own thing. So now you get the benefit of being all by yourself and being the only one, which is, it's, I guess, like you said, a hybrid is the best of both worlds. So
Yeah.
can't complain.
And now I have a similar feeling too of and that I want to leave, because in order to do the things I want to do, I probably need to be in a different city. But like my mom's older now, and it's like, there's only so much time we have with them. I think she's like 75, so now I'm like torn between that. I'll probably end up leaving anyway, but I mean,
No, and I understand that completely, and it's just kind of like me, getting ready to go to Germany here in about a little over a week on the,
final countdown.
Yeah, it's one of those type of things where I know my mom, she's already up there in age, so I'm going further away, so I know that at this point she's gonna be gone for a while, but then I won't see her for a while. So what happens? What happens if how is it gonna play out if something happens and I'm not there? You see what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I think about all that, but then I also realize that I have to take care of my family right now, my wife, my kids, and they're at an age right now that everything that they see, it makes an impression upon them.
Yeah, yeah.
So, like Rosalind right now, she's 4. She'll be 5 next March. But the moment that we told her that we're going to Germany and they have castles all over the place, oh man, that was all she could talk about.
You sold it to her.
That was it. She was castles. Oh yeah, I want to go see castles now. So she's excited about that.
What did you have to use for the rest of the trip? Was it that easy?
Austin and Jackson, believe it or not, we were watching all of these TV shows on the Travel Channel called Extreme Attractions, Extreme Rides, Extreme Water Parks. And pretty much every episode, they had some amusement park or water park that was in Europe, between Germany, Austria, England. Generally, there was one in Italy and a couple other places in Europe. But once we found out where the job was going to be in Stuttgart, Germany, then everybody was like, "Is that close to where we're going?" Yes, it is. That's within an hour away. Oh yeah, well we have to go. So once they start to realize all the things that we could see and do
on the positive versus what you're gonna lose.
Exactly. So they were like, "Man, I'm all over that. I want to go see that. I want to go to this place. I want to go to that place." So they've been making their own little lists as to where they want to go, what they want to see, and what have not.
Are those the only 3 going, or?
Madison's also going, and that was the hardest one to sell. She's 14 now.
Yeah.
So
she has her little clique probably.
Social
life.
Exactly.
Yeah.
She has all her friends, and I think now she's got a boyfriend or something. So she's all about in that age right now. So the funny thing was that her best friend told her, "What? Are you crazy? This is an opportunity of a lifetime to go see all these things and realize all these,
how much you pay
how
her?
much is out there."
How much you pay the best friend?
I didn't pay her. That was kind of like a blessing in disguise. So she came up with this little frame that she made, and it has the silhouette of the state of Washington, Texas, and Germany, and has a picture of both of them, best friends forever, this and that. So the other girl, she's 2 years older, 16. So she's gonna come and visit.
She has that life experience.
So and that's what my wife was also telling. Shauna was telling, listen, you're gonna have that life experience, and later on you're not gonna understand. You're not gonna understand it right now, but later on when you go to college, and if it's a school that you want to get into, and you can talk about your life experiences, that's gonna help you. I mean,
I don't know if Germany is one of them, but some of those colleges too in Europe, man, they're free. Like, so, maybe start to sell her on that.
It depends on the country. Like
Sweden definitely is. My friend in Hawaii did that.
I know in Italy they have some college, not all of them, some university type of level of education that it's free.
Yeah.
But then there's also others that you have to pay. So it all depends.
Pick the free one. Don't go into debt.
All these things are there, and you can just live and learn all these things and come back and say, "Oh yeah, that's the Eiffel Tower. Yeah, I've been there. Done that. Got the T-shirt, And people who haven't been there, like, "You went there for real? Oh yeah, here's the pictures."
Yeah, yeah.
All of a sudden, your level of interest. The level of interest in you just went up.
Yeah.
Oh, that person went there, this and that. So little things, and they don't realize that now, but I want them to be able to travel, to see the world. Not to go and say, "Oh yeah, I wish I could have gone there." Well, I would love to someday go there.
Yeah.
And we have the opportunity now, especially it's not going to cost us anything, because the job is going to pay for all the transportation costs. The relocation, everything's taken care of by the job. So I don't have to worry about that. You see what I'm saying?
Shout out to the
So
job.
whatever cost is involved of traveling around, yeah, that's on me. But in the long run, that's minimal in comparison to how much it costs to move an entire household with a family from one country to another country, especially between the U.S. and Europe.
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous. So yeah, so I'm very fortunate about that. So I weigh both sides of the coin, and I see certain things, and like I was talking to my mom the other day, she goes, thanks to you and your military career and all the things that you've done, I had a chance to go to Europe and visit and see Italy. I went to the Vatican, we went to Rome, went
Was
to
that her
Hawaii.
first time?
Huh?
Was that her first time?
In Rome, in Italy?
when,
Yeah.
when she went?
So she's had the opportunity to do and see all these things. So she's very happy, and I'm like, man, if I could get her to go to Germany and show her around, I mean, that'd be awesome. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's
and Suzanne's gonna go too. She's already ready.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny because your mom was going like when we were telling her, well, if you guys accept her, like, and Shauna and I were like, so what? We're gonna make her fill out an application. Yeah, sorry, we're not accepting this application. You're being rejected. Come on.
I need to, and I still haven't even gotten on my passport, man.
Oh, you got to get that.
I know,
man.
I'm
You got to get that. So come on out there, go to Germany.
The closest I've been to, I guess, travel is like when I went to Hawaii last thing, because it feels like in between. You can kind of feel the line. You're on an island. You're kind of desolate.
You do. And,
it's America, but it don't really feel like it.
And you're right.
And then because of all the tourists, you feel. I met people. Man, I met Australians who live in Japan. You know what I mean? Like, I met people from all around the world there. So it was almost like, oh, okay, this is what it could be like. You know?
Now, oddly enough, and I lived in Hawaii for 6 years.
Yeah.
Not all at the time. 2 different tours, 3 years each. But it seems like Australians, Japanese, and Brazilians love to come to Hawaii.
Yeah. No, I met a lot of Japanese.
They come by the plane load.
I think that it just seems to be like that's kind of their fun island since it's so close, maybe.
Well, no, I'm not sure that it's so close. I think it costs less.
Is that what it is?
Because I was at one of the nicer golf courses in Hawaii. I was playing out there, and I got paired up with these 2 Japanese tourists, and if they didn't tell me that they were from Japan and that's what they were, coming on vacation, I would have never thought that they were actually living in Japan because they spoke English without any accent. And what happened was they both grew up in California. They lived all their lives out there. Then their job took them to Japan. One of them was working for Matsushita Electric, also known as Panasonic.
Okay. Yeah, I know that.
And
shout out, they make my camera.
Yeah, well. So that's how they met. So they were coming back to Hawaii and they were telling me it is cheaper for the average Japanese tourist to come to Hawaii and play golf, buy brand new clubs and hang out here for the entire week than what it is to do the same thing in Japan. And I had the opportunity to go to Japan twice, and out there I found out that most people, they set up a tea time in a group of 4. So let's say you, myself, Philip, and Suzanne. We're a foursome for golf. You make one tea time, I'll make another one. Suzanne does the same thing, and so does Philip. So between the 4 of us, we get to play golf 4 times out of the year, because each one of us has a tea time for 4 people. So we all play those 4 rounds. And that's about average. Golf is extremely expensive in Japan, and if you miss your tea time, you're done. I mean, you're not going to get...
No refund?
No, it's not that there's no refund. It's that you're not going to get out on the course.
Oh, okay.
Because there's so many people trying to get on the
moving.
Exactly. So you see these driving ranges all over the place throughout the cities, kind of like similar to Top Golf, but not quite as loud and noisy.
Never been to that either.
It's fun. If you're going to go with a group of people and hang out and have a good time, it's fun.
Yeah.
If you're going because you want to work on your game, not the place to go, man. I mean, I learned that quickly the first time I went out there. I was, working on my game, and the people next to me on the left and on the right, they're like partying, drinking, and all loud and obnoxious. I'm like, yeah, this is just a novelty. It's cool. It's fun, but it's not the place to really
Yeah,
work
it's
on
a
your.
hangout zone.
So you see a lot of those driving ranges in Japan all over the place, and that's where most golfers hang out at the driving range. They work on the game a lot. So, but they don't play as often. So when they come over to Hawaii, and the odd fact is that they have 3 different price lists at the golf courses in Hawaii. They got the local, or what they call the kamaaina. So if you're in the military, you get the local or kamaaina rate. Then they got the regular tourist rate, and then there's the Japanese tourist rate.
Oh man, is that the highest
That's
one?
the most expensive one,
And it's still cheaper. And
Huh?
it's still, and it's still-
and it's still cheaper than playing in Japan. I mean, it's ridiculous. There was just I can't remember the name of the golf course, but it's just past Pearl Harbor, and there's a lot of it's an outlet area. There's a lot of shops, and it's a really cool place. A whole bunch of restaurants. And they have a really nice golf course there, and I've played that golf course a few times. Every day by the busload, Japanese tourists, and it's kind of funny because you see all the husbands going to the golf course and all the wives going all to the stores. So it's like,
Oh man, they planned it perfectly.
yeah, it's one of those type of things, and I thought it was interesting, but I'm sure, and nobody complains about those prices either. So if that were back here stateside,
Yeah.
it'd be an outrage. It's insane stateside also. When you say stateside, oh, I'm going back stateside. The average Hawaiian says, "Oh, we are a state. You are in the States." Yeah, but not quite so. You see what I'm saying? Because we're 2,500 miles apart from the mainland USA. So that's.
I feel like I can only imagine saying that same thing in Alaska. like, I'm going backstage.
You really don't get that sense in Alaska because it's even though
country in between.
There's a
Water
whole,
is
you're
different.
right.
It's a whole country.
There's a whole country, but it's all part of the same landmass.
Okay.
So you don't get that.
Can you drive it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Only certain times of the year.
Okay.
I think as a matter of fact, here now in September, the end of September is when they close down the roads and you can't because the snowfall is ridiculous. But in the summertime, yeah, you can. So. And the road is not the best one either. So
I could imagine.
A lot
probably
of,
gets weathered every year.
Yeah. A lot of people, what they do is they make it all the way to Washington State. They board a ferry, or they go up to Canada, Vancouver, and they board a ferry, and the ferry takes them all the way into Anchorage. For the most part, that's where most of them go. And then from there, they make their way up to Fairbanks, Alaska. That's the other area where there's a military bases. So. But like I said, I've had the opportunity to go to all these places and travel. I've been to the Philippines, Japan, all over Europe, some places in Central and South America, the Middle East. Not by choice.
Yeah.
I mean, Iraq, Afghanistan, Kuwait, Qatar, Dubai. Not the really nice places, unfortunately, but I've had the opportunity to experience a lot around the world, so I enjoy that.
Which one was your favorite?
I have to say Europe. Anywhere in Europe, the lifestyle is completely different. There seems like so much more to do, so much history, so many things to see, and it's crazy. Don't get me wrong. You see, there's similar things in the Asian countries, Japan, China, the Philippines, but it wasn't something that attracted me the way Europe did. So,
right.
For me, it's got to. And if I'm going to pick European countries where I would love to stay, it would be Italy, the first, number one, England, number two, and a close, really, it's almost like a toss-up between 2 and 3. That would be France, Paris, mainly. And the reason being, it's not that it's a big tourist area, but when you're walking around Paris, it almost feels like you're walking around Midtown Manhattan. It has that same, I guess you could call it that cosmopolitan type of feel.
Do a lot of the big cities around that world have that though, or no?
Not necessarily. Because I mean, I've been to Rome, I've been to Milan, Florence, in Venice, in Italy. You don't get that sense, but in Paris, you do get the sense. You get you walking down the streets and you see the manhole covers and the sewers. You see steam coming out of the from underneath it, just like in Manhattan.
Yeah.
There's a subway system, so little similarities. You know, like going down to the corner McDonald's in Paris and having, a Big Mac or a double quarter pounder with cheese. You know, some.
That's my number one complaint when I travel is like, man, how come they don't have the transportation in New York?
And that's what I'm saying. And that's, Paris does.
Yeah.
Paris has an awesome transportation system, whether it be the buses or the trains. Oh, forget about it.
Yeah.
It's just like, and that's why I say it has that feel of being in New York City. A lot of museums all over the place. I mean, that's like the big thing. And then, of course, but Italy is a little different. Some cities in Italy have a underground train system. Milan does.
Mm.
It's not very big, or does it go very far? But it's there. But in Italy is more like they hold on to their historic roots while allowing modern times to flourish around all that.
Mm.
So they find a way to coexist. If you
Yeah.
So which is is really cool. I mean, I was walking down one of the streets in Milan the first time I went. As I'm walking down, I see a 5 Series BMW, but it's a police car. I'm looking at this thing, and I even took pictures of it. That's a 5 Series BMW, 4 doors, blah, blah, with all this, really nice car. That's a $70,000 car in the U.S. And over here in Italy, it's a police car. Really? You see?
Man, so now the movies were right. The movie.
So, you see things like that. And the one drawback of I would say to a certain extent would be shopping in Europe. Because here in the United States, if let's say we buy, let's talk about the GoPro cameras, the Hero 4 Black, which was last year's top of the line.
I think it's 400 right now. It started out 500, but it's 400. Yeah.
Okay, so then we have the Hero Black 5, which is this year's model, which is probably a little bit more. But the odd thing is,
that's what I meant. It's for whatever they all start at 500, but they're at 400 right now. Whatever the best one is.
And
right
when
now.
the next one comes out, the previous one goes down in price.
Yeah.
Not in Italy.
They all stay.
It stays the same price, just because it's last year's model.
They don't have the technology. As the longer you wait, the cheaper it gets.
No, I don't know if it's technology. I think that's more of a mental mindset. But no, they don't.
I think technology does. It's always because we have the exponential growth, and that's what's forcing it. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's not planned, but that's what's forcing it.
Yeah, and you might be right. And
because GoPro slowed down, but like I think if you go up to 3, this was a yearly occasion. This was like a season.
That is true. That is true.
So it's like you can't just leave them all at 400. They're just gonna buy the 3.
Exactly. And it dawned on me primarily seeing cars and sporting goods items and things like that in Italy. I saw that very clearly. It's kind of amazing. Over here you see Land Rovers, Audis, BMWs, Mercedes, you name it. They're expensive cars.
Yeah.
And people, you see them and everybody, oh yeah, it's almost a status symbol to an extent. And you go to Europe, and especially like some of the places where I was at in Italy, it seems like everybody has a Mercedes, a BMW. It's not just the cheaper ones too; it's the higher end ones, but they're all over the place. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And are they cheaper? No. Are their salaries better? No. For some odd reason, they're able to afford it a lot easier. So do you think
maybe they just a different set of values?
Yes,
like
by far.
This car is like
by far.
I got family, and then car, then maybe a house, then maybe.
Well, and that's the thing too. They in Italy, when you see a family in a house, it's not just mom, dad, and little kids. It's mom, dad, and kids, grandparents, uncles, aunts. It's like 20 of them living in the same house.
Yeah.
And just in different areas of the house. So they're very family oriented. So that's a lot, you don't see you don't see them moving out of the house too quickly.
Mm.
It's not uncommon to see a 35-year-old guy or girl still living with mom and dad.
Mm.
And that's perfectly acceptable. So
Maybe I was Italian inside.
hey,
Maybe I
maybe in a past life, but
yeah.
And everybody, like I said, the values and things are so far different. It's just like they're more family oriented. They how is it that they put it? I can't remember. For Americans, they live so that they can work, but Europeans they they
Work to live?
it's either the work to live or live to work. It's one of the two. I can't remember which one is. The
And it's
Americans,
just-
we live to work,
Okay.
whereas the Italians, they work so that they can live,
Mm.
but not to the extent that we do.
Mm.
And the bottom line, bottom profit's not always the driving factor.
Yeah.
Over there, stores will open up at 8, 9 o'clock, or at 8 or 9 o'clock, sometime at that, in that area. But by 12 noon, 12:30 in the afternoon, they're closing down. Then they don't open up for another 3.5 hours. And then they close around 9 o'clock.
Mm.
So that big 3-hour gap right there, they spend it with their family.
Is that like
They restock
Sorrento's
some
over here?
shelves and things like that. And
Was that like Sorrento's over here, right? With that.
yeah,
Yeah.
Sorrento's is a good example. Then in August is the month where most of the Italians take vacation. You'll see that a good number of them take their vacation between the 1st and the 15th, and then the other half of the country takes it between the 16th to the 31st. But it's not like it's all planned. It's just that some of the businesses, they're like, okay, so many people will go on vacation at this time, and so many people will go on vacation at that time. But when they're small businesses like restaurants, they'll tell you, oh yeah, we're going to be closed for these next 2 weeks.
Mm.
So you have to, depending on where you live, you like to go out to different restaurants. You have to figure out which ones are going to be open at that time and which ones are not.
Mm.
In Italy, everybody has to be all stores are closed on Sunday, regardless. Country law. The only exception to that is tourist areas. And then you could stay open. But outside of that, everybody's closed. Then everybody has to have 2 days off throughout the week. So most people take
So Sunday plus 2 days?
plus another day.
Mm.
So
Oh, another day.
yeah,
Okay.
so
So it's Sunday and a day.
and a day.
Okay.
So you're gonna like, for example, the bike shop that I used to race out of, they were always closed on Sundays and Mondays. So those 2 days that shop was closed. So if you had some bike repair that you needed to have done on a Monday, you need to figure out which other shop is open on Monday
Mm.
so you could get it done. So then the restaurants are the same way. They'll have, some of them will actually close out completely on Sunday, and they'll be closed either Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. But Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, which are the busiest days, they're going to be open.
Yeah, yeah.
So you just have to figure out, plan accordingly. Have your list of restaurants. Oh, I had like 8 that I used to like, and I knew which one was open on Monday, which one's open on Tuesday and Wednesday.
Yeah, the pattern, yeah.
Yeah, so it works out that way.
Oh, yeah, so let me ask, who is Frankie?
Oh man, I'm the ultimate free spirit. I like to go out and do stuff, see things, explore. I'm not one to sit in one place and just hang out there and be comfortable. I want to see and do more. That's who I am. I want to see and do. I want to see what's over there and over there, and I want to go try this out, do that. I'm an adrenaline junkie. For 26 years, I was in the Army, and I jumped out of airplanes, helicopters, did a lot of helicast operations into the water, got picked up out of the water by a helicopter, and did fast rope insertions and things like that. Going at 100 miles per hour with my hair on fire, or living by the seat of your pants. That was fun. Free fall, things like that. I enjoy that. Amusement parks, I love those things. But I've done so many extreme things that when it comes,
Was
throughout
it
my
like a
time in the
joke for
military.
you,
There's
right?
sometimes I'm like, yeah, it's cool. I did it. It's old. Move on to the next thing.
Yeah, yeah.
So, but I enjoy these things. And
What led you to do it's army, right? That was
Mhm.
the one. What did led you to do that in the first place?
um, growing up as a little kid, some of my friends they were always watching a lot of World War II movies with their parents. Any war movie. And okay, so oh man, that looks cool. Yeah, that's pretty neat. And there, the interest grew, and ultimately, and also, having Uncle Pete and a couple other family members that were previously in the military. That oh man, that looks cool. I want to do that. So it got to the point where I was trying to figure out where I wanted to go. So I knew the Air Force was not for me. That was like the easiest one of all. I'm like, man, this
Shout out
is.
to Suzanne.
I knew that was just based on who I am. That was just not for me. If I wanted adventure or had that adrenaline rush, it had to be either the Army, the Marines, and maybe the Navy, depending on what you did.
Yeah.
So it became down to either the Marines or the Navy. I mean, the Marines or the Army. So the Marine recruiter, he offered me this scarlet red sweatshirt with cross sabers on the front that said Semper Fi, and then said Semper Fidelis, always faithful. And he said, I can't give you this one because I already promised it to another candidate, but I will get you yours. And I'm like, okay. So I had my mind set on the Marines. 2 months passed by, and he told me, yeah, I'm still working on your sweatshirt.
Damn.
2 more months went by, no sweatshirt. But the Army guy, he offered me a lot of other things, and I'm like, and he delivered and got me what I wanted to do. So I joined the Army.
Yeah.
So when the Marine Corps recruiter found out, because all of them were in the same block all together,
Yeah.
he goes, what happened? I'm like, well, you came and showed me a sweatshirt that said always faithful. 4 months go by and there's no sweatshirt and you have no clue when you're going to deliver. You couldn't deliver, and they delivered. So if you can't deliver, that's a direct reflection on how the rest of the Marine Corps must be.
The image, yeah.
And he was like, I have nothing.
I just find that,
and he walked away. That was it. I'm like, okay.
I find that amazing. The Marines lost you because they couldn't provide a sweatshirt.
No,
Otherwise, we have a totally different journey.
No, yeah, and in retrospect, I'm glad that
it worked out. Yeah,
it worked out because
yeah.
I did what I wanted to do. Come to find out that the Marines, they don't guarantee you the job that you want. So they tell you, pick out of these 50 jobs, you qualify for these 20. Pick the top 3.
Yeah.
Okay, I want that one, this one, and that one. Then you go to boot camp, and chances are you may not get any of those 3. You may get what they want you to have because it's based on their needs. Whereas the Army, they'll tell you, you qualified for these 100 jobs. Which one do you want? Pick the one that you want the most.
Yeah.
I want that one. Okay. They guarantee you that you're going to go to that school, that training, and you're going to get that job. They can't guarantee you're going to be working in that job, but you got the training that you wanted, which works out really well because if, let's say you wanted to be an X-ray technician.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, when they spend that kind of money, they're going to work. You're going to be working, but you're going to be an X-ray technician. It's almost a year-long school. They spend a lot of money to send you there. You got the school. You may end up in a field unit in a medical field hospital where you may not work as often as an X-ray technician unless you're out in a combat situation. But you got the job. You got a skill that when you get out of the military, you can use.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? The Air Force and the Marines, they don't guarantee you. Not even the Navy. They don't guarantee you that you're going to get that job. So
what made you? Because you were, I don't know the name, but you were definitely medical or something, right?
Yeah, my first 3 years, actually my first 4, I was an infantryman. That's what I wanted to do.
Oh, okay.
And that's where I was able, and I learned quickly that all these things that are really cool, full of adrenaline, get them out of the way early in your career, and then focus on something that you're going to be able to settle down and have more upward mobility. But the fact that you have all these other experiences only make you even more marketable, more desirable throughout the military. And that's what I did. So as I grew through my career, I became a senior leader. Those individuals that I had under my charge, I tried to tell them, this is what you want to do, have fun, enjoy it. But once you get to this level, start looking at all these other areas. Oh no, I don't think that's for. Well, guess what? If you want to make it a career and get promoted, you need to look at those areas.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
that's where they're going to look for to promote people, not in this side over here. Why? Because this is just a small segment of your job. This is maybe 15% of your job. You have another 85% that's still out there.
But at some point you do end up doing like medical. That ends up being your final thing, or no?
Oh
Or am
yeah.
I just confused?
No. Out of the 26, 22 years, that's all I did was medicine.
Why did you choose that? Does that have to do with PT or
Because
no?
no, it allowed me to have the fun that I wanted to have, but at the same time, it gave me a little bit more sense of purpose, an actual job, and I didn't have to have such a hard life like some of these other guys were doing.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, it's a little different. I get to enjoy all the benefits and the fun that you're having, but I don't have to go through all the hard times anymore because I'm doing other things. I have other responsibilities,
Okay.
but I'll support you. And so it worked out perfectly. Anytime there was some sort of operation, they need medics, right?
Yeah.
There you go.
Because I feel like you were doing that for forever.
Yeah.
Like
No, and like I said, I enjoyed it. I mean, especially when you're working in an infantry battalion where all the senior leaders of that unit, they don't really know exactly what your job is. So it's easy to just, yeah, sorry, first round, we can't do that because of X, Y, and Z, and we have to make sure that A, B, and C is done, and we have other areas that we have to concentrate on.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, well, no problem. You guys go take care of this, but if we need you guys to support, you'll be ready to support. Roger that. We'll be there. Do what you got to do. Your job. Do it right. Don't let them know any better. They will never bother you. It always works out that way.
All right.
So I enjoyed it. I loved it.
All right. I'll ask one more thing and then I'll go into the life questions and then we can get you out of here. What was it like? Because, yeah, I was born old. So, what was it like growing up? I guess, like, yeah, I call her Titi, but you call her mom, of course. Like,
Yeah.
what was it like growing up under her? Because I only knew everybody. I only know them in all their older ages,
Well,
like Uncle Pete, everybody, I mean, I didn't get to see none of these people when they were younger and stuff, so.
it was fun. I mean, it was one of those type of things that when everybody got together as a family, it was always fun. I enjoyed it. I always had a blast, and being able to see everybody and hang out and have a good time. It was to me it was always fun. So I always looked at that aspect, but I also looked at the aspect of learning what they were doing, how they got to where they got. So that to me was more important, and I always paid attention to what they were doing, and I realized, and I would listen to some of their stories. And I'm like, okay, I understand now, and I'd listen to them saying, well, yeah, my mistake was I did this as opposed to that. So I'm like, okay. So then later on, as I was growing up, I'm like, I remember so and so saying this, and that back then. Okay, I'll keep that in mind. And I, move on to the next area. So it was, to me, it was always fun. Like I said, I got to travel a lot, even at a younger age. So it was always cool. So whenever I would go away for the summer, and I came back to school, everybody wanted to know what I was doing, or how my summers went, or my Christmases, or spring breaks, or whatever the case may be. So that was always fun. That was always really having knowledge of this world and a different world per se.
Yeah.
So,
What was Titi like?
She was awesome. I mean, she was strict, she was firm, but very fair. Um, she let me get away with a lot. Okay, I always push the envelope, see how far I can get. I'm like, okay, man, well, let's back up off that edge for a little bit more, and we'll go a little bit further this way, and let's try to get to the edge a little bit more. So it was always fun. So growing up, I had always had good friends and people that I hung out with, and that gave me a lot of freedom.
Mm.
So if I would have been hanging out with the wrong crowd, I don't think I would have had I don't think I would have been able to enjoy the freedom that I enjoyed growing up.
All right. What was young Suzanne and Phil like?
Oh man. Oh, to me every time I came to hang out and visit, it was always, to me it was always fun because we would always play games and do all kinds of stuff, and it was a we kind of like grew up together for a long time.
I feel like some of the pictures indicate that, the few that
Yeah.
I've seen. I was
So-
surprised I was even in that one picture I posted it because I'm just so used to not being in any of them.
So we did a lot of things together. We would go to the zoo, the aquarium, go downtown, and go see all these things. Go to Madison Square Garden. Go to, I don't know, Macy's down on 34th Street or 59th Street, and with that one Alexander's was around.
Oh man.
Yeah. So the little things like that. That was like, that was always an adventure. Oh yeah, we're gonna get on the subway, and we're gonna, like, things that most people took for granted. But as a little kid, you like, in my opinion, living in the greatest city in the world.
Yeah.
So it was
Shout
fun.
out New York.
Oh yeah. New York. The city's so nice they named it twice. So, and I mean, for me, New York is what you make it.
Yeah.
So I loved it.
I think growing up, how I grew up, like, I mean, it's not it, I don't know, it's just the environment, me, but I think I didn't understand like the power like New York that was maybe there for me
Mhm.
until I maybe get out here, because like you have no perspective. So
No.
I didn't have perspective. I don't know about you, but I didn't have the perspective.
No, you're right, because everything that you grow up in New York City is going at 100 miles per hour.
Yeah, so that all seems normal. Like
Yeah,
when
and that's
I got,
normal. Yeah.
I didn't think our neighborhood was bad or Sandview was bad or Bronx River was bad, but then when I got here, I was like, oh, I get it. I was like, so now
It's like,
I was able to
oh,
put in
man.
context, like, oh, so that's not normal.
Yeah,
You
so
know,
that
like-
wasn't what was supposed to happen. Back
Yeah,
then.
you know, like-
Okay, got it. So no, yeah, it's to me it was the same thing, especially once I joined the army, and I end up in Georgia. And I'm out
Contrast
with,
right there,
Yeah,
right?
it was like woo, night and day. And I'm out with a couple of my friends, and we're like, and I asked for a beer, and the lady goes, "You want a bear?" I'm like, "What? What did
Oh,
you?"
the
I was
way we
like,
talk, yep.
"What did you say?" Want a bear? I'm like, yeah, one of those things in the.
One of them alcohol things.
Yeah. I'll have one, yes. So getting used to how they spoke, and it's a lot slower. And I'm like, oh, okay. So to an extent, you don't see a whole lot of that growing up in New York City, other than whenever you would watch the Andy Griffin show,
Oh man.
which
Wow.
our grandmother loved.
Yeah,
She
yeah.
watched it, and you're like,
Shout out to grandma.
And little things like that. So growing up, you start like, oh, so this wasn't okay. But at the same token, you got to the point where you were wiser. Like you realize, this guy's trying to pull the wool over my eyes. I'm not letting that happen. So I'm sorry, dude. You're gonna have to try a lot harder than that. Because where I grew up, this was happening on a regular basis, and if I could see them coming, I could see you coming a mile away.
Yeah.
Not gonna happen. So I mean, I didn't say that I'm not gonna sit here and say that it never happened, because you're always gonna get that one time that you're like, oh man, they got me. But I learned from it and move
Yeah.
on. So yeah.
Well, what is, I guess she's not young, but what's younger grandma like? Because literally when I know her, she is grandma, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? She is like,
Well, you know, she used to work in a clothing factory in Manhattan,
Mm.
and they used to manufacture a lot of the lace components for wedding dresses.
Oh wow.
So I actually had the opportunity once to go where she worked and see what they did and all the different patterns for the different types of lace that they would make, and they would sew them together and put
Is
them.
that why there was like a sewing machine in the house? I feel like I
Oh,
remember that.
yeah, there was always a sewing machine. Yeah. But yeah, that's I mean, I remember thinking that eggs were the best food in the whole wide world, and I'm like, nah, man, I just can't stand eggs. I hate eggs, and that's why today you can't pay me to eat eggs. I was like,
Oh
nah,
man,
that,
ruined it
that,
for you.
that's not for me. No, yeah. So yeah, ask Suzanne. She'll tell you. I mean, she used to love eggs,
Yeah.
and she would eat them like they were going out of style. I'm like, how can you eat that stuff? That's like, the smell alone would make me
She
want to
still
throw.
eats them. I mean, I'll eat eggs, but I don't demand them or crave them. But I mean, she eats probably the majority of the carton. Like I
Not me.
probably eat an egg once every 2 to 3 cartons. Like,
No, I'll eat eggs scrambled.
yeah, yeah,
And they,
that's my main thing.
and they have to be scrambled hard
Mm,
with just a slight tint of browning on it. You
damn,
know,
you need that shit cooked.
so
Yeah.
I want it well done.
I mean,
so
I was about to say that. I need my
so-
eggs well done.
so that I don't really taste the whole. And then on top of that, sprinkle a little bit of cheddar cheese
I
on
put
top of
everything
it.
on there. I put adobo. I put everything on there.
So you know the
Yeah,
feeling.
yeah.
It's like having a my friends in the army would always make fun of me because every time we would have an omelet, let mine sit there just a little longer. It's gonna get brown. Okay, perfect. Let it get brown. Put some tomatoes on that thing. Put some cheese.
Yeah, I don't
put
want to
some
see the
ham,
yellow. I don't want to see
Put
the
some
yellow.
of this and that so that I can taste everything else except for the egg.
Yeah, yeah.
I just want the egg to hold it all in place.
That's funny.
Yeah.
And
But
then
it was fun, man.
the last one. What's younger version of my mom? What's she like?
Oh yeah, your mom
Yeah.
always she always loved music. Always had a radio going on. Always
She
singing.
still always has a radio going.
Yeah. She would sing and she would dance.
My mom sang.
Well, she would listen to the radio and sing along with the radio and things like
Yeah.
that. So, I mean, that was her. I remember that vividly. It was always music, always enjoying that style. So.
That's cool.
Oh yeah, she was like, I mean, going out to different places, and especially in the summer, planning all these trips to, like, let's say the Bronx Zoo.
Mm.
And it was okay. So, Frankie, you're carrying this. Suzanne, you're carrying that. Philip, you're carrying this. And we would go out. And man, it was like a mini caravan type thing. You had the big jug of juice. You had the big bag with all the fruit,
Yeah.
sandwiches, and all sorts of stuff. So
I feel like a lot of our Greyhound trips were like that.
Yeah.
Too.
oh yeah, and then that was another thing too. Going on all these Greyhound trips that the church would
You had them too.
Yeah. And it wasn't just the St. Joan of Arc right there down the street. It was, I don't know if you remember Guille Cristobal.
I vaguely.
Okay,
Yeah.
so their church did the same thing too.
Okay.
So they would have their trips, and we would go with them too, and then plus do the ones over from our church. It was like,
So,
okay,
the first 5 visits to Florida are probably because of the church.
Yep. That is true. Yeah. So I mean, those were like adventures, man. You're like, oh man, we're gonna go to where? Okay, I didn't care what the name of the place was. Let's go. We're going somewhere. We're gonna have fun.
I feel like too, man. I feel like, especially like at her age, I think Grandma was a boss because she did the Greyhound trips to Texas when we come in here,
Mhm.
like 2 days on that shit. That's insane.
Yep.
That's insane because like
No, I agree because the first time there was a, Six Flags.
yeah.
So they have one in New Jersey, Great Adventure, but there was another park called Jungle Habitat.
That one I don't know. I remember like Astro something.
Well, that
Yeah,
was a
that's a
different one.
different
But Jungle
one, yeah.
Habitat had an amusement park, and it also had like an outdoor zoo
Mm.
that you would actually drive through, and you would see all the animals loose in this, which was actually pretty cool. But we went to both of those, and Grandma, she got on a couple of the rides too. I'm thinking, whoa. So I was like, okay. I remember one time we were waiting in line and it was cold. We were going to Radio City Music Hall to watch Robin Hood, the cartoon animated one.
Okay.
And we were waiting forever in line and grandma got mad and she just went home. She turned around, left the line,
Yeah.
and she went back. And I'm thinking the entire time, I hope she doesn't get lost, you know. She knew where she was going, but I was like, but then yeah. But at the same token, I remember, I was excited because we went to see the movie at Radio City Music Hall. We had a blast, but then so we got back to the house. There she was.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was tough. Very kind, caring, loving, but she knew how to be tough. She knew how to stand her ground.
Yeah. I'm gonna hit you with the life questions, and then we good.
All right,
It's a bunch of them though, so good.
go for it.
What is your goal in life?
I want my kids to be able. I want to show them things that other people just merely get a chance to talk about.
Mm.
I want them to have a lot of life experiences, to be able to go and see places and do things that the average person just says, oh, yeah, I read about that in a magazine or I saw something about that on TV. And when they get to that point, I want them to be able to say, well, I did that. I've been there. Oh, I know exactly how that works because I had the opportunity to do it, not just hear about it or read about it or just see it on TV or a book. So that, in my mind, my opinion, will make him a better rounded person. Give him some experiences, see how other people deal with some of these things, whether it's adversity or the good times, so they can learn a little bit about not only themselves but other people as well.
Yeah, like I feel like I've only been made aware of like the perspective that can all bring like in the last few years, you know?
Yeah, and I agree with you. So I want them to be able to experience that from an early age.
Yeah.
So that when they have their kids, they could be like, oh yeah, you gotta see this. You gotta, man, check this out. Do this. Let me show you how to that.
Yeah.
You
The next one is who do you have compassion for?
what do you mean, family wise or?
Whatever. You do what you gotta do with the question. I have a bunch of notes, but I'm using that. So they're in there, so I can't read them to you.
I have I'm gonna use Jackson.
Okay.
He has a, I don't, he is not like other kids. He does have some autism traits. So there's certain things that he picks him up like that, but other things he just can't grasp that concept. So I love him to death, but sometimes he makes me mad with some of the things that he does, and I know that he knows that they're wrong because he hides. But by the same token, he's trying to push the envelope. And in some cases, he just doesn't realize that he's doing these things. And then he's like, but why am I getting in trouble? Well, you got in trouble because you were told not to do this and you did it anyway. You shouldn't have done it. But why?
Yeah. And then it keeps going.
Sometimes he doesn't grasp that concept. So I'll get on his case about something. I'll get mad at him for whatever reason. But then I feel bad about it. I'm not going to tell him that I feel bad about it because I don't want him to think that, oh, it's okay for me to continue doing this. So I want him to learn from that. But I feel bad for him because I worry that he may not be able to lead a life on his own. Now Austin's totally different. Austin will pick up the concept a lot easier. So, yeah, I do have. I'm not sure if it's compassion or it's empathy, but I do think about that him in the long run.
Mm.
So,
All right. What's 3 things you're thankful for in life, career, whatever?
oh, first and foremost, my family.
Mm.
Overall, I mean, not just my wife and the kids, but everybody, cousins, uncles,
Mm.
aunts, parents, because I've been able to share so much and learn so much with them and through them that I think has made me a better person overall. I mean, I've learned so much, and to me, it's always been fun to get together with family. I mean, we don't have to do it every day, but when we do, man, let's do it right. Let's have a blast. Let's laugh. Let's enjoy. Case in point, last weekend, Austin and Jackson, we went to Six Flags, and Suzanne was with us. Man, talk about having a blast. That was fun. Just listening to Suzanne screaming in some of those water rides, it was awesome. But she had a great time and she
Yeah,
enjoyed
yeah.
it. So it was those things. That's family overall. Has been very important to me, and and it's not that I don't take it. It's not that I don't appreciate it or that it may seem like I may take it for granted, but I do appreciate those times, those moments that we're all together.
Mm.
And I look back on those things. So if I find myself in a tough situation, a hard time or whatever, I look back on that, and that kind of makes me feel a lot better. Um, Another thing that I'm grateful for is the fact that I was able to do so many things, experience so many things, and see so many things, and continue to do so. I mean, I truly believe that I've only scratched the surface.
Mm.
So to have those opportunities has always something I've been very thankful. And of course, career wise, I've had a great time when I was in the military. You don't do 26 years just for the fun of it.
Yeah.
If you do 26 years in a certain job or occupation, it's because you enjoy it. And I always, to me, my mentality when I was in the military was, I'm going to stay in until it's no longer fun. And then I look back on my career, and even the moments that I thought that, man, life sucks. But I look back and I'm like, man, okay, yeah, it was just for a short while, but I had a great time. I loved it. I enjoyed it. I'd do
Mm.
it again. So, family, my life experiences, and career wise, I think I've had some very, very, very satisfying moments. Case in point, now I'm getting ready to leave where I'm currently working at. And as soon as everybody found out, they were like surprised. They were like, no, you can't be leaving. Like, yeah, I'm leaving. I'm going to go do this. And the moment I explained to them they're like, they're just as happy as I was.
Yeah.
So I've had the ability to make my job rewarding, not only for me, but in conjunction with other people.
Mm.
So,
All right. I feel like one person you want to forgive, and one person you want them to forgive you, and if possible, why?
oh, geez. I don't know that I have anybody that I need to forgive because I never let things bother me to that point.
Yeah.
I've always, it was always been one of those type of things that yeah, they did something to me. I just okay, whatever, brush it off and keep on going. I never really, I've never been the type of to hold grudges. I learned early growing up that if you hold a grudge, it's like letting somebody live rent free in your house.
Mm.
They're gonna continue to enjoy themselves. They don't care that you're mad. See what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
So not worth it to live that way. Um, if I had to ask for somebody for forgiveness, I guess I would say my kids
Mm.
because there's so much that I want to do for them and want for them, and if I'm not able to get all those things for them, or spend more time with them because of job or whatever the case may be, or different things that happen in life, that would be the one thing that I would ask for forgiveness.
Hmm. Where do you see yourself in 3 years?
If telling Donald Trump that he's working for me. No,
That's
no, I mean,
a quick way raise from
yeah. I'm like, look, man, I got it. So I got this from here on out. No. 3 years from now, and actually I'll still be in Germany, but my my kids will be a little. They would have been able to get enriched in life a little bit more, and being able to do a lot more for them. That's where in 3 years from now, I see that happening. Being able to do certain things, be able to still and actually spend more time with them as they're growing up, and then participate in some of the things, give them some of my life experiences, teach them a thing or two here and there. So yeah, and I've always loved sports. And that's something that my father always was big on, sports. So I make it a point to try pretty much just about every sport that I've ever been able to. Jackson wants to play golf now, so I'm loving that he wants to play golf.
I know you would, but I still haven't met like the friend who wants to play.
So and I have a lot of friends that play golf, and I going through my military career, I had the opportunity to play some of the best golf courses that Hawaii ever had.
Yeah.
And I played some really nice ones, and for dirt cheap too.
Yeah.
So the fact that he wants to learn, the first thing that when we found out that we were going to Germany, he goes, "Dad, do they have golf over there?" I'm like, yeah. Now, Austin wants to play soccer. Dad, is there
soccer there?
Soccer
Please.
is soccer. And I told
you're gonna be all right, kid.
I told him, and for the average European, there's only two sports:
yeah,
cycling and soccer, and who knows which one is bigger.
I mean, from outside looking in, I'm gonna say soccer. I don't see any World Cup of bicycling generating that amount of income and that amount of illegal activity from a government, not from the guys involved themselves.
No, I mean, let me put it to you this way: you have the big tours, right?
Yeah.
The Tour de France. There's a version of it.
It's not generating the same income, dude. I'm sorry.
Okay.
It's not like right. I don't know nothing, but it's not generating the same.
Let me put it in perspective.
I don't see the cycling yearly game coming out on PlayStation that I see for soccer.
But because cycling is it's more of an individual sport.
Yeah.
So you're not going to see that on. There's no way to really translate that to a video game.
Just there is,
unless you put it on a. The
only game I ever played was a fighting game. That's always going to be individuals.
Yeah, and that's always going to be around. But like when you're on a bicycle trainer, you could project that you're riding against somebody else on a large screen TV, and that becomes more interactive. And you can ride some of the same courses where the top pros in the world have.
Yeah.
But in Europe, and the United States is starting to get to that point now. The cities of some of these countries where some of these bigger bike races are held, they bid and they get into fights and arguments over having a short glimpse of that race come through their city and their town.
Well, to be fair, even this city, like when you go downtown, this city is big on bicycles.
Yeah.
And I helped last year myself with Red Bull. I don't know if you heard about The Last Stand. Did you hear about the Alamo race?
Mm-hmm.
It was So I mean, I was actually there. I helped put that.
Yeah.
So I mean, like.
So no, and like I said, these people they will do all sorts of things to their towns, their cities and what have you, just to be able to get one stage of some of the bigger tours to go by.
Yeah.
When they go by, it's not like, oh yeah, you see the whole bunch of guys a few times. No, in most cases. There was the first guy. There was the last guy. It's like that quick. It goes boom, just like that. But what the average spectator does not see on TV is the big caravan that's almost like 2 miles long that precedes the bike riders, giving away souvenirs and samples of their products and so forth.
Oh, sponsors.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No. And it is big business. I mean,
Yeah.
really big business. And some of these teams, they fight over for their sponsorship dollars.
Yeah.
There's an American team right now, Cannondale, who might fold at the end of this year, not because of Cannondale, but because of the other co-sponsor, Drapac, I believe it's called.
So you know what it is though? You said like I guess you were talking about European and like I guess I think soccer because I'm thinking well the world. That's why. But yeah, you were saying in the perspective of Europeans, and that would be isolated to there.
Oh yeah, no,
Yeah.
it's in Europe, yeah. There's
Yeah.
two sports: cycling and soccer. Cycling and soccer. Everywhere you go, any sporting goods store, you're gonna see soccer balls of all types, colors, size, and shapes. If you can imagine that, with all the gear that's allowed for it. The same with cycling, and you're not gonna just see entry level stuff. You'll see all the high end stuff too, and it sells. I mean, it's hard to imagine a $12,000 bike that some average person, oh yeah, I like that bike, I'm gonna buy it. Here in the U.S., people are like, you spent how much on a bicycle? Man, that thing better have an engine. But that's because the culture is different.
Yeah, the values.
And when you really look at it, soccer in the United States has taken a back seat, just like cycling has. Those are two sports that in Europe, they're huge. And also around the world. But here in the United States, they're not that big.
Yeah.
And they're only big whenever, cycling is only big in the U.S. whenever there are prominent U.S. born riders that are doing well.
And only
around
for
the
that
world.
moment, not even for
Exactly.
the year.
And only for that moment. Greg LeMond was the first one. He did a lot for cycling. Then when his career was tailing off, Lance Armstrong came on.
He had a
scene,
moment too.
and even though he
the
cheated,
ending sucked, yeah, but
there was a big surge,
yeah.
And now there are several American riders in the professional ranks on big time European teams, and they're doing extremely well. So now cycling is actually growing in the U.S. It's gotten to the point where the Amgen Tour of California, which has been held for the last, 12, 13 years, it actually it became bigger this year because now it's part of the UCI Pro Peloton, where only the top races and events in the world go into. So now that's part of it. So now you see a lot more teams from Europe sending some of their top riders across the U.S. to compete in it. And the thing about it is that race also goes head to head at the same time with the Italian version of the Tour de France. It's called the Giro d'Italia. 21 days also. The U.S. version is only like 12 days long. So as you can see, now you have competition over which big riders are going to come to what country. And over the last few years, a lot of them have been coming over to the United States. They train here in the United States. So the event is getting bigger. This year, the Tour of Colorado, another big event, had a lot of professional teams from Europe competing in it, not just the American teams, but from overseas.
Yeah.
The Tour of Utah, another big race that's actually gaining prominence. So it's starting to make its inroads, and hopefully they can maintain that momentum. Unfortunately, MLS here in the United States, Major League Soccer, it's been floundering for the last...
Well, the league sucks, but I think it pops off here when whatever we are, just like we are Puerto Rican or like here we're in Mexican country. So if the Mexico team comes here for any friendly, or if it's usually one of those summer championships, and we watch it on the road, we just watch it here.
It's like an ebb and flow.
Yeah,
back and forth.
So we don't. Well, right now it looks like we don't have a league. We don't really have. So it's hard for us to have the yearly thing, but like if someone comes to visit, like and they're representative of whatever nationality we come from, usually I feel like there's a pop and surge. For that,
And like I was saying, cycling is growing and every year the world championships are held in a different country.
Yeah.
And the U.S. is now vying to have the world championships brought to the U.S. So there's a big push for that. Can't remember. One year I went. They were in Verona, Italy, and that was the first year that I got to Italy, and I actually got a chance to see those things in person. So a couple of years ago, they had them in, let's see, in Atlanta. So yeah, it was in Atlanta, Georgia, and that was a big thing.
Yeah.
Huge. So now they're trying to bring them back again, but not to Atlanta, to another big U.S. city also. So, like I said, they're looking for ways to grow the sport. There's a huge bike race series, and one of the biggest events is in New York City, in Brooklyn. And it's road racing, but it's not road racing where they have 20 million gears on the bike, and they have a whole bunch of teammates. It's all fixed gears, more or less like the fixed gear events in the Olympics.
Yeah.
It's on a closed circuit. Brooklyn holds one of them every year, and that's like one of the biggest ones of that particular type of event. So, yeah, it's getting bigger.
One day.
Yeah, someday, right? Maybe
one day they can all knock on the big four.
I don't.
Or
I don't,
three.
I
Maybe
don't-
I don't know if the.
I don't see that ever happening.
Maybe not. Then.
The American public is so far into football, baseball, basketball, and ice hockey that, I mean, and ice hockey is making a comeback also. They're out of the big four. That's the one that's usually at the bottom, but they're even.
It is.
They're getting bigger and bigger now. There's a brand new team that starts the season.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
we're
in
still
Vegas.
making teams.
In Vegas,
It's not moving. It's a brand new
It's a
one.
brand new team.
Oh my gosh!
It's
Is that really a wise decision?
Huh?
I mean, I don't know. I don't know that road, but is that really a
I
wise
mean,
decision?
the amount of revenue that they're about to generate from that is ridiculous. They're called the Golden Knights.
Oh man!
Yeah, and
That sounds like a casino. I feel
But, believe it or not, there was a lot of discussion that because the U.S. Army at West Point, the academy,
yeah.
they are the Golden Knights.
Oh man! So there's kind
So
of.
they're kind of like borrowing the same name, but
Do they have to pay them at all? Or
I don't know. But they say it's a different context. So, but yeah, Vegas.
How's it spelled? KN or just N?
KN.
Yeah, I mean,
Don't ask. I'm like, okay, whatever.
Okay.
They're enjoying it. They're having a big deal with it. The Raiders are moving from California to Vegas in 2 years.
We're
So
gonna
now
blow that town up again.
Yes. So now they're gonna have football. They're gonna have ice hockey, and they're trying to get basketball.
That town, damn. The last basketball memory I have is the 1990 UNLV team.
Jeez.
Yeah, I know. Right?
Wow.
That's the last basketball memory I have of Las Vegas.
That's the same team that Jerry Tarkanian.
Yeah, it was a good team, man.
Yeah, they went up against Duke, and Duke beat them.
Yeah.
That was like unheard of. Like,
Yeah,
I remember that.
that was.
I was stationed at Fort Bragg, North Carolina at that time.
But I feel like that city never says no, and they're trying. They like in the last, it's probably like 5 to 10 year gap. Some of this stuff, but like for fighting games, they've become the home of their biggest championship. It started in Cali, but then Vegas took it. And then what's this other nonsense? I don't know. Say what you're gonna say. It might come to me.
No, I was gonna say that Vegas is actually one of the few cities in the U.S. country, in the country of the United States, that doesn't owe the government any money.
They also took EDC. That's what I was trying to say. Which Electric Daisy Carnival.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that started also, I believe, in Cali as well.
Yeah,
and
because the amount of people that go to Vegas and the amount of money that city generates because of the hotels and the casinos, it's like it's crazy. I mean, they out there, the hotel rooms are really nice, and you get them at a fairly reasonable price.
Yeah.
And to go out to eat dinner, you could have
the buffets.
You could have a great dinner on the cheap, and it's not cheap quality; it's good quality.
Yeah.
But that's how they're able to, because they get you in with all the casinos, and that's how they make their money. So
Golden Knights.
Yeah. Yeah, every team had to put up 2 players for a expansion draft. Whether they got selected for that team or not, it was a different
This is a
story.
dangerous question, but I'm gonna ask it just for you. Like,
Hmm.
did they take 2 Rangers you like or no? Did they?
Well, right now the
Oh, it
two,
hasn't happened yet.
it did happen. Two of the guys that were left exposed to the draft, to the expansion draft, they're good players, but they are getting long in the tooth.
Mm.
So they've been there for a long time, and
That potential hasn't popped yet.
so their potential they're getting closer to their down
Okay.
end of their
Yeah,
careers.
yeah,
So that's why they were left exposed, or they were bought out of their contract so that they could be exposed to that.
yeah.
So it's sad to see it happen, but I understand it's a business. And when you see a really good player's numbers start to go down, you see the writing on the wall.
Yeah, yeah.
It happened to Victor Cruz last year. The
Mm.
Giants had him, but he was not able to generate what he did previously.
Yeah.
So it was just a matter of time. And then unfortunately, the same thing happened to him again this year with the Chicago Bears.
Mm.
He didn't make it past the preseason. So it's sad, but that's just life. So
All right. Back to the life question.
okay.
What is the perfect day?
Oh man, a perfect day.
Yeah.
Oh, that would have to be. There's 2 perfect days for me.
Okay.
One would be me just being able to get into the car that I want the most, and just being able to just go out and just drive and flat out just go out and have a blast. That would be perfect. Like not just on a straight road, but
Yeah,
adding
yeah.
some of the winding roads and
Cruising USA stuff. Yeah.
that would be awesome right there.
Whose car is it?
That would be a BMW M4.
Okay.
Form, and all they did was they took the old M3 and they turned it into an M4.
Mm.
So now basically the 3 Series was available in a 2 and a 4-door. So they decided to take the 4-door and leave it as a 3, and the 2-door made it into only a 2-door.
Okay.
But now they're introducing a 4-door version of the 4 Series, but it's only on a limited basis.
Mm.
So not sure how how that's gonna work. I haven't seen one on the road yet, but I've seen a
They
couple
exist.
M4s.
And what's your other one? Your other perfect day?
The other perfect day would be being able to go out with my family, wife and kids, and just be able to spend time with them, enjoying with them, and giving them whatever they want.
Mm. I like that. You like one of them is the good answer. The other one is like,
Well,
but this car though. But
you have to have your one day just for you to either like just go out and unwind. Then you have to have a day that where it's like when I turned 39, it was the last year of my first tour in Italy. On my birthday, I got up early that morning and I went on a 100-mile bike ride.
Mm.
And
How long does that take on a bike?
on the route that I did, which I had 3 different mountain passes that I was climbing, the highest one was 4,500 feet of elevation.
Mm.
That whole thing took me about 6.5 hours.
Okay. That's so much quicker than when you run 100 miles.
Yeah.
That's
But I mean, I did it and I felt great. And then my friends and I went out that night. We had a blast.
Mm.
So that was, to me, like the fact that I could do that.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
All right.
It felt great.
All right. And where does like the will to carry on come from? Does it come from higher power? Does it come from within? Come from something else?
A little bit of from within, and a little bit of I'm going to say 50-50 from within and from a higher power.
Mm.
It's a combination of both. When I was a a little kid, I heard this one saying. It was something from the Bible that where God said, "Help me help you."
Mm.
So part of the "help me help you" is I know God's helping me do certain things, but I also have to show that I'm willing to go out and work for it. So you have to have that drive, that determination to continue on, not to just sit there. Oh, okay, yeah, I did this, and that's cool.
Yeah, yeah.
No, I mean,
It doesn't just come to you.
no, you have to go out. If you want something, you have to go out and get it because nobody's going to give it to you.
Mm.
You got to work hard for everything that you do. And you do see that in a lot of these athletes these days in pro sports. They work hard. At the end of the day, they do the things that they do because they work at it. It's not just Kobe Bryant didn't win championships because, well, I was there.
Yeah, yeah.
Something that LeBron James didn't realize early in his career. It's not about him. He has to have a supporting cast around him, which in the last few years, that's when he's been realizing that he needs.
To some, I mean, I don't want to go basketball on you, but I mean, like to some degree. But he's always been like that because his main weapon has always been the team.
Mm-hmm.
But I think he's like, I think lately, it's to a lot of people, it's like, man, what a greedy person because he always wants more people. But I mean, he's also realized, look, I can only elevate these people so far.
Much. Exactly.
But these people who are good, I can elevate them even more.
Exactly.
Look at Kyrie Irving. Because let's see how great he is next year.
Well, yeah, let's see what happens. No, but and I agree with you on that. It's like right now, Shauna and the kids, except for Jackson, they're all Seahawks fans. And they think that Richard Sherman is the greatest cornerback in the game.
Yeah.
Which some people in the NFL believe that, and I just cannot see that.
Yeah.
From a guy that only plays one side of the field. He only plays that same side, up and down, up and down. He's not always lined up against the top receiver of the opposing team.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest thing that other people who play his same position in the NFL, they always say that's what they knock him on.
Yeah.
Oh, well, he only plays one side of the field. Me, I line up wherever the top receiver of that team is on. If it's on the right side, then I'm the right. If not, then I'm on the left. Or if I'm in the slot.
Hey man, he plays zone. He plays.
But and that only works on that team.
Yeah.
Why? Because their system is set up to that. The problem with that system is that they rely too much on their corners being really fast.
Mm.
So when there's a breakdown on one side, that's when they have problems and he gets exposed.
Mm.
There was talk about him coming to Dallas Cowboys, and one NFL writer, he said that would not be a good move for him. And he was right. Because when you look at all the receivers that are the top the top 20 receivers in the league right now, at least 8 of those are in the NFC East alone. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
In one division, and that's 4 teams. They have at least 8, maybe 9 of those guys.
But if you do the math, based on what you're telling me, he'll only cover them half the time, so he might be all right.
No. Because see, if he went to the Dallas Cowboys, he would have been playing the other 3 teams twice a year.
I know, but I meant literally in half the plays, he'll only cover them because he's on the right side. What am I gonna do?
Well, and that's what I'm saying. I remember when he first played against Odell Beckham Jr.
Mm.
The Giants lost that game.
Yeah.
But Odell Beckham Jr. schooled. He had his number. And at the end of the game, Richard Sherman said, "You know what? You are the real deal. You are the man." And an offer to exchange jerseys.
Yeah.
That was one of the first ones that he exchanged. And I gave him credit because I'm like, okay, he realized that he met with somebody that's the top receiver.
Yeah.
And he gets a lot of his numbers when he's not covering the top receiver. So I don't know. So if he were to go to a different team, to the Cowboys, he's gonna face the Giants twice a year. So he would have Odell Beckham Jr., Brandon Marshall, and Shepard, and now that new tight end. So that's one of 4 different receivers that at any given time would be on him.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? So he's going to get exposed. Then you go to Philadelphia. They got some really good receivers over there too. Their top 2 receivers are in that top 8 that I was mentioning. Then you go to Washington, D.C. The same situation. Heck, Dallas has 2 really good receivers on their side, but of course they're going to be playing on his team, so he won't have to face those guys.
Yeah.
But the other 6 games, he's going to get exposed. So that's why he stayed where he was at. And he'll probably end his career right there in Seattle. He probably won't go anywhere else because if he does, he won't have that same impact anymore. So that's when he realizes, it's better to stay here, try to keep this team together where I know that I'll have
some environments make you better than you probably are. It's not like LeBron, like where the Eastern Conference Finals travels where I travel.
Mm-hmm. Oh no, yeah. and that's what I'm saying. That was the difference, in my opinion, between him and Kobe.
Who?
Between LeBron and Kobe.
Oh shit! All right, what are you gonna say? You might ruin this whole podcast right now.
I don't know, man. I saw Kobe.
Might not get to ask my last question.
I saw Kobe take a team where had no really big superstars on that team, and he still won a championship with them.
Oh wait! Are you talking about the Paul Gasol, Andrew Bynum, Lamar Odom Lakers? Are you?
Okay, what have those guys done since
they ain't doing shit without Kobe? But I get it. But those 3 people take up the same exact space that Shaq did.
But there you go. They were role players, and they knew
That's
how.
That's a big ass role. That's a big,
okay, so you just said it took 4 people.
Lamar
to take
Odom is one of those guys that maybe we expected him to be more than he was, but he's a crappy LeBron, like a mega crappy LeBron.
I agree with you.
But he's on that. But when you combine him with Kobe, you had Bynum before he was a nutcase.
Yeah.
And you had Gasol when he's young.
That's what I'm saying. So Kobe was able to.
But those are good people.
He was able
when
to.
Kobe
to
had
get
Kaka, he didn't do jack shit. When LeBron had Kaka, he got swept by the Spurs. But Kobe couldn't make it that far. You know what I mean?
Look at it this way.
I should not know who Delonte West is. I should not know who Boobie Gibson is. I should not know
how many times did it take LeBron to win a championship in Miami?
2 years. Because the first year he lost because he forgot to play. He forgot.
But he had Bosh. He had Paul.
Yeah, but look, if you quickly realize like that, it made me sad, and I bet you it made him sadder because he's actually doing it. Like. Those guys weren't doing shit. He still led the team in every category.
And that's what I'm saying. He's at a point in now that he realizes that it's not. I'm not the one who's going to carry this team. I need to have a good supporting cast around me. And Kobe, Kobe, he admitted that also too. Later,
he might be getting to that now because he's getting older.
He needed a better supporting cast.
He can carry the team. He just needs. He just needs help to get over because usually that West Coast behemoth don't be playing games that like the East Coast children be playing because there's a lot of jokers in there. If the man wins 7 in a row, there's a lot of caca in that league. Yo, if it don't matter what team he's on, if he's like, you know what, like this Miami Heat is too hot for me, I'm gonna go back to Cleveland, it's a little bit cooler, and the title still comes with him. He's like, I don't care. Look, Wade and Bosh, I guess they helped a lot, but he's like, look, Kyrie and half of Kevin Love because he forgot to play that year too. You know,
but that's what I'm saying. He was not able to elevate those other guys.
Who?
LeBron.
Well, I think because that's where you get the alpha. They're all alphas, so they weren't Wade sort of bowed down. Bosh didn't know what to do.
The other guys are wannabe alphas. They're not true alphas.
No, Wade, come on, Wade.
Okay,
he might be like a 1A.
Okay,
instead of a 1, he might be but no, Wade and hit when he's young.
But some of the other
Bosh is not a true.
No, I mean, come on, he wants to be a true alpha. He's not a true alpha.
He can't. He got there because he can score, but he can't rebound, dude. Like, come on, like,
and one of the things that at least for me in the military, as far as leadership goes, it's okay to be the leader, but you're if you assume the number 2 role and you surpass the expectations, that is by far better leadership than trying to be a number 1 and not getting there.
Yeah, sometimes you can be the best number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 versus like the pressure and the hard work that a 1 takes. That's what's very confusing to me about Kyrie. Like, he sucked his whole career. And the trade, from what I understand, is like, I just want to be the guy. Like, playing behind LeBron is,
Okay, so now he's gonna realize the pressure of being that
But
guy. What Melo did. Melo, he had all the pressure in New York City of being the guy.
See, Melo's confusing to me because he was always a 1A and he never opted to not be that. Like, he just always.
But he cracked in New York. I'm sorry, New York.
No, but I mean, he had a chance to leave New York to try to form, to go with some good people, and he never did. So I saw that as a money move to me, in my opinion.
It could have been a money move, or maybe he realized that there were other shortcomings in there.
Because now when you got people like KD and other stars who are like, you know what, like, I'm going to take less money, like, quote unquote, and like, because I want to win, because what are we doing here?
Look at Golden State. If Golden State didn't win that championship this past season, man, they would have never heard the end of it.
But it happened to Miami too, though. It happened to Miami too.
They didn't have a big three. They had like what, a big 5 or 6 or something like that.
I mean, it's really 4, half if you want to be like both sides of the court, but it's really 4,
Yeah.
But no, Miami had that though when they lose to Dallas, and they didn't hear nothing.
Oh, geez, they were like, come on.
But you know what it did? It made him better. It woke up LeBron because he went from being like, look, all right, fuck, this sharing team shit I'm doing with you, Dwayne Wade. It's over, like, you need to know your role, and and then everything worked out.
And when they won, it's because he forced the other guys to step up. Because to an extent, the other guys were just like, oh yeah, I'm good, I'm bad, I know what I'm doing. No. There's good, and then there's good.
Yeah,
there's that one guy that okay, yeah, I'm gonna elevate. And I get what Max Kellerman was saying last year about Eli Manning in the playoffs. Yeah. You got regular season Eli Manning, the one that the average analyst does not give any credit to.
I'm with them.
But then you got postseason Eli that is capable of actually picking up the team on his shoulders and going all the way and winning a championship. And
it's very those people are very confusing because, I mean, unlike the Eastern Conference in the NBA, like, this shit's not given to you, so you do have to get in there. Like,
and the thing about it, like,
and what does that say too? Like, if you can only play like one of the guns to your head, I mean, like, that's both good and bad, though. You know what I mean?
It is, and that's what Brandon Marshall, who last year was with the Jets and he was a commentator on Inside the NFL, was saying. He said last year he had Ryan Fitzpatrick, who's Ryan who? He had him higher than Eli. But now he's playing with Eli, and now he's changing his tone. He goes, you know what? Eli is the best quarterback that I have ever been able to play with. And now I see what I was not able to see when I was criticizing him as an analyst. And I didn't think that he was preparing the way he should have when I was an analyst and also playing for the Jets, because I didn't see everything he did. But now that I'm here as his teammate and I see the amount of work and the preparation that he puts on, I realize that a lot of the problems is not him. It's that receiver. It's that offensive line not executing the play the way it should be. But the problem is not so much that people don't see that. What people see is Eli saying, my bad, I'll take the responsibility. And he was like, the fact that he takes the responsibility for somebody else's mistake.
Sometimes it's part of being a leader too.
Exactly. So now he's singing that he's like, wow, I just did not see it that way. And now I'm able to see it that way. So now he's like, wow, okay. So there's players like that. I mean,
yeah.
Like, that's like, you got post up Shaq versus free throw Shaq.
That's one of the most annoying things, because I mean, he might have been able to catch Kareem if he would just And Rick Barry had that talk with him too, like, dude, just shoot underhand or like figure it out. Always aim for the backboard. Like, to me, there's no excuse. There's no one. I don't care how big you are, because everyone's little stubborn problem is they want to shoot normal. figure out a gimmick.
Figure out something that
Yeah.
works for you.
Teardrops weren't normal,
Do
but
you-
Tony
do you-
Parker and other small people made
Yeah.
it normal. You know what I
Do
mean?
you think this
Hook shot
this
wasn't,
sky
oh,
hook
but
with
that hook shot
Kareem?
is not cool, so I can't do it.
Come on.
Underhand free throw is not cool, so I can't do it. You know what's cool? Winning. You know
Yeah,
what's
exactly.
cool?
If you're winning, nobody cares how you got that bucket in.
Like, I mean, look, now that we got these crazy people in Golden State, so people see them winning, but how many titles they had before them? One. You know why? Rick Barry. You know, like the underhand grandma free throw guy. You know what I mean?
And that's what I'm saying. I mean,
Like,
Kareem, he that was his money shot.
yeah.
The sky hook.
All it got him was 38,000 points, still number one. Jordan ain't past him. Kobe ain't past him. Dirk not gonna pass him.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like,
So obviously that works.
yeah.
You need to do that. So
But no one does. And then now that we're in a guard era, even the big men play like guards. No one's gonna learn that move. No one's gonna.
no, I mean, the sad part about Shaq was he paid coaches in the off season to help him with the free throw, and he still and it didn't improve anything.
I think, and he'll admit to it now. Maybe he'll still cling to the free throw part, like, oh, I have to be cool doing it. But he'll admit to the overall game that, you know, once he got to that certain level of Lakerdom with the three-peat and all that, you just get a bit comfortable. You know, like, these titles come to me versus like you got to keep working. And I think that's where the initial rift between him and Kobe starts. It's less the personality and more like, I'm trying to be a killer, winning these things. And this guy is not there anymore. You know what I mean?
No, and that's what happened. And in my opinion, that's what I saw at the beginning when LeBron went to Miami. They were a three-headed monster, but they were not playing together. Each one had his own star, and each one wanted to shine.
Well, a lot of them, the one that's funny because the one that needed to be the alpha, LeBron, he's probably the only one that's best suited to play at that time off the ball, and the others maybe not so much. You know?
I agree with you. And
because LeBron, like, dude, you watch some of those games before Kyrie left, you're like, dude, he has no problem letting Kyrie get 45, 50, whatever, you know what I mean? Because and part of the only reason that happens is because LeBron's right there standing just in case, you know? Like,
well, Herb Brooks, the late hockey coach, he said it best. All-star teams don't win games because everybody's out for themselves. Everybody's their own star. You need people who are going to buy into a particular.
They don't all bow down, yeah.
So and he proved it. He made it work with a whole bunch of nobodies. Turn them into an overnight sensation, and they want to go.
Yeah, I mean, like, LeBron hasn't won titles all the time, but I'm telling you, like, a lot of these teams, man, like they if you look at those lineups, those aren't necessarily the people you want on your squad. So that dude is doing something right.
And I give him credit because he's had that consistency to be that far into the playoffs every season, which that in itself is an accomplishment. To the point that he changed
teams, dude, doing this.
No, yeah, and that's what I'm saying. That in itself is an accomplishment. It's just a matter of to get you over that edge, that proverbial edge, is getting the right.
I know we ruined the whole ending of this being sports, but I think a part of that problem too is like, that should have never happened because I'm a big fan of it should be best of 16 instead of 8 East, 8 West.
Well, you know, and I'll be honest with you, the reason to me sports is so big, because
escapism. I mean, that's the real reason.
No. There's so much about life that comes out in sports.
We don't all take from that. I think a lot of people is escapism. I mean, I'm sorry.
And I get that, but there's so many different things that
you can take from that. I took that from basketball a lot of the time, but it took me years to even get to that point. You know? What I mean?
and that's the sad part. It doesn't take. You don't get that right away.
Yeah.
Because it's all about the competition. But then, as you start developing.
These are things you learn as doing. Now that we're talking about, like, you learn from doing, because if you're just watching it, this is where the escapism comes from a lot of the time.
No, I agree. Yeah. So there's a lot about life that you can learn just from the sport, and being
a lot of parallels. Yeah.
So I mean, leadership or being that mentor, you know, from a family member to on up or to a friend or whatever the case may be. It's there. It's just a matter that most people don't see it. They just look at the competition part and maybe the bragging rights, but you know.
But I'm gonna hit you with the last one.
All right.
We got super tangent in right there. Had the sports hour right there for a minute. But the last one is called I like, I wish, I wonder. I like that I did. What was it? I wish I had done. I wonder what would have happened if.
The one thing that I wonder what would have happened. I was in my military. I was trying to go to flight school,
Okay.
be a helicopter pilot, and I was in Hawaii at the time, and I was up against the clock because you had to get accepted into the course before you reach a certain age.
Yeah.
But because of the time and the distance between Hawaii and Fort Rucker, Alabama.
Damn. That's like a lot.
Yeah, no, and things don't always move as quickly, and because of the high number of applicants. So it got to the point where my age caught up. So I always wondered how would that have played out. But by the same token, I also look at it the other way. Maybe it wasn't meant to happen. So I could look at both and keep it at an even 50-50. And I see, okay, I see what the possibilities could have been, because if I would have done that, then I would not have been able to do this. But if I did that, I may not have been able to meet this other person. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So when it comes to that, sometimes I wonder about it, but I don't think too much about it, because if what I ended up doing turned out the right way for me,
Yeah.
then I believe, well,
That's all good.
This is what was supposed to happen, and it worked out. Now, if that failed, then obviously I should have gone the other way. So I don't like I said, I look at that the same way as grudges. I don't let that linger, because if I do, it's just gonna bog me down, and I'm not gonna get past that. And I see so many people out there that they're in their own way, and that's part of the reason why, because they're always wondering, oh well, what if? Like, forget about the what ifs.
Can't do nothing with what if.
Yeah, what if's not gonna get you anywhere.
Or at least people frame it poorly. It's always what if in reference to the past, versus like a future objective or goal. Like, what if I make that thing happen? It's never that. No one's ever thinking that. And they're always like, what if that had happened?
And I'll give you another example. The job that I have where I'm working now, that was not a job that I had initially set out to go get. I got a call.
Yeah.
I said, hey, listen, my name is so-and-so, and I'm from this organization, and we want you to apply for this position. Who are you? Okay. All right. I'll play your game. And I went on the day that they told me I was supposed to be there based on the email, and then I get there, and it turns out it was the wrong date. But one of the guys that was working there at the security office, he said, listen, leave me your resume, and I'll make sure that HR gets it. And a week later, I got a call. Got an interview. And I didn't realize that it was an interview. I was on the phone with the person for about an hour. Turned out that was an interview. And at the end, he goes, okay, so now I just have to schedule you for your next interview. I'm like, next interview?
Yeah.
Wow. You see what I'm saying? So I could look at it, well, what if I would have done something else? What if I would have said, man, I don't know who you are, where you come from, click. But no, I'll play your game. Let's see what's going on. Next thing you know, I got the job, and I've done very, very well. I've done so well to the point where I've been used as an example as to what you should do. The leadership at where I'm at, they don't want to see me go, but they know that the reason why I'm going is because I have other goals, other things that I want to do.
Yeah.
And they're happy for me. And the reason they're happy for me is because they know that I've worked hard to get these things. So, and again, so you could look at it different. What if I should have done that? Well,
yeah.
If I wouldn't have answered,
The other two parts to that was I like that I did.
Um, I love the fact that I did 26 years in the U.S. Army.
Mm.
I the Army was something that for me was fun. I loved it and I embraced it. I learned so much from it, not just from one single person, but I learned so much from really good leaders and some really bad leaders. Unfortunately, the bad leaders outnumbered the good leaders. And it seemed like the bad leaders always stuck around for a lot longer than what the good leaders did.
Yeah.
But I learned a lot from both of them, what to do, what not to do. And even there were things from the bad leaders that, to an extent, that they did well. So I'm like, I like that. I'm going to try that. So I'm glad I did those 26 years. I mean, in my opinion, that opened up other doors for me. Not just in one particular area, but it made me a little bit more versatile.
And then you probably gonna have no answer for this one because you keep reiterating it, but the second part would have been I wish I had done, but it's probably a repeat of what you just said.
Yeah, I wish. If that were the case, I wish I would have learned about it sooner.
About what sooner?
About the age.
Oh, for the helicopter,
for the flight, U.S. Army flight school. Because had I known about that sooner, I would have tried a lot harder, much sooner. But by the time I realized what it entailed, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah. That. I mean, there were things that I wanted to do that to an extent. I'm glad I didn't do that. But then something kept me from doing it. I was mad at the time, but then, okay, I got over it. But then I realized, man, I'm glad I didn't do that, based on the outcome of what ended up happening, with what I wanted to do.
Yeah. All right. Normally, because I usually do this with a lot of artists, but I mean, like, normally this be like the plug part, but I don't think you have nothing to plug because you're not doing songs or nothing.
Yeah.
So you don't really have no websites or media to play.
Yeah, no.
So yeah, we can skip that part. But you got any last words?
Life is what you make of it. Don't let people detract you from what you really want to do in your heart. Follow that dream. When you have a dream and something that you want, that you're passionate about, there's always going to be a ton of people out there telling you, oh no, that's not good. Oh no, this and that. But when you really look at it, the reason why they're telling you, oh, that's not good, is because they can't do it. So don't let anybody detract you from your hopes, your dreams, your aspirations. Fight for them tooth and nail. When you get that opportunity, hold on to it with both feet and both hands. Don't let go. And it's kind of like what the rap star 50 Cent said, get rich or die trying.
Yeah.
So to an extent, you got to follow that mentality.
Okay.
Go for what you want and fight for it. Work hard for it. There's a lot of examples out there, whether it's sports or life, whatever. You can achieve it. It's not going to come overnight. It's not going to be given to you. You have to work.
All right, that's it. Bake that chicken, smoke that turkey. We done.
There you go.
Boosh.
We need some bacon and steak now.
There you go.
Hey, that's your plug. Bacon and steak.
Yeah, man.
Nah, let me stop. To White Stone to see a classic movie to be, but too young were we for Bruce Willis stories. Still your best, some nice stories. Sixth Sense was the movie, but as kids it was poopy. We all young, so we don't pay rent. Means extra money to spend. That being said, we too cheap to take a bus. We walk over there, we don't.